So tell me about, this story gives us a little known, or a glimpse into a very little known side of Lincoln as a father. We see him struggle with his responsibilities to the country, his wife, his family. Talk a little bit about that dynamic between father and son that we see in the film.
Yeah, well, I play Robert Lincoln, who's Abraham Lincoln's eldest son. And in fact, they didn't have a great father-son relationship. It was quite strained. Abraham Lincoln was largely absent when Robert was young. He was on the circuit. And I love that because this movie doesn't portray Abraham Lincoln as a simple icon or an angel. It shows him as a human being. It shows him, as a man with flaws and a guy who has to make compromises and who has his moments of hypocrisy. And I think that's really important. And, yes, he's one of the great leaders and great minds of, history ever. But he was also a human being. And I think, A, it's important to remember, and B, it makes for a really interesting movie to watch.
Tell me about working opposite Daniel Day-Lewis in the role of Lincoln. He's playing your father, and what was that like to see him inhabit this role?
It's uncanny. I mean, Daniel's just a phenomenon. He's kind of in a league of his own. And I had absolutely no problem just believing that I was speaking to Abraham Lincoln, which is, sort of mind-boggling because Abraham Lincoln, I grew up in the United States of America. I have Abraham Lincoln on my pennies and on my fives, and he's this iconic figure in all of our psyches. So to see an actor so seamlessly just become this figure and have no problem just believing he was him, it's really an accomplishment.
So on the one hand, you had Daniel Day-Lewis as Lincoln as a very, very believable character, and then you also were taken into the White House of 1865 in this film. The attention to detail and the authenticity are quite remarkable. What was it like to have that environment on top of, these very real characters around you? How did that affect your work as an actor?
Yeah, they replicated the Lincoln White House with meticulous historical accuracy, and I just love it when anybody gives that much love and care into their work. It makes my job a lot easier, when I can step onto set, and the environment that Stephen has created is so conducive to an actor being able to focus and just get into it and not feel like we're acting, feel like it's real.
What struck you most about walking onto the set? Maybe the first time that you walked onto set. What stood out to you the most?
Oh, Daniel. The whole set revolved around him, and as it should have. And I think that really speaks highly to Stephen, because a less experienced or perhaps more egotistical director, generally a set revolves around the director, but Stephen really centered everything on Daniel, the president. Called him Mr. President. And I think that was key. And for me, it made it just, like I could just slip into this world.